Hello,
Hi,
I'm Ellen,
and I'm Ella,
and we're Chatty Cupcakes.
and we thought we would just have a little sit down with you guys to just give a little discussion of our history, where we've come from, what we've been doing, and just let you know who we are a little bit.
In the time since we've started our bakery, we've gotten to know so many wonderful people, our customers, and they have graciously allowed us into their homes in the holidays and on special occasions, and we thought we'd shed some light into our world a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of Chatty Cupcakes.
There's a lot of madness going on behind the scenes here. We've put out some pretty pictures, I think, but they need to know the crazy that is also Chatty Cupcakes. So, welcome to it.
Yeah, a little bit of the crazy. We're gonna do these videos and let the light come into our world a little bit. So, having said that, we started in 2014, and I remember the exact day
Do
and
you?
where we were.
Okay, that's a big thing.
Okay, Ella, you were where?
I have no recollection of
The day. Well, where were you in terms of your life? What were you doing
So
at that point?
Chatty Cupcakes to me had a little bit of a roll up before this specific day, I think, because what was important for everybody to know is that we did not share a love of baking in my lifetime. That wasn't something that I think we
Had no
identified
time.
as.
No time.
Yeah, you were a management consultant, you were traveling, I was a student, I was doing homework that I didn't want to do. But in every place that we went, it was our thing, and what we were known for was finding bakeries.
Well,
Little tradition.
I traveled a lot for my work in that life and a lot of European trips. And Ella was young, but she was able to travel with me on some of those occasions. And after a long, hard day's work of speaking, we our joy was to go find a European bakery and
just get
reward
something
ourselves.
good. Yeah, so we were known for eating good things.
Yeah,
Not necessarily making good things for ourselves.
So then in 2014, then we fast forward to that point. Ella was a psychology student at the University of Pitt and
Yep.
loving every moment of homework and all of that. And she would come home. We lived in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. She would come home and we would walk the dogs and just go for walks. And I remember exactly that day we had a conversation and reminiscing a little bit about Europe. And we said, wouldn't it be fun? And then we turned it into let's just do it. Wouldn't it be fun to start a bakery with all these good things and let's just do it? And so the science part of it began because we wanted to answer two questions.
Well, so I would also say that we're not necessarily business oriented people so much as we're foodies. We love, then the mad scientist here loves creating the recipes and formulating all the science behind the ingredients and the fresh and the this and that. So, but the business focus that we did have from day one were these two questions, which were what differentiated us and what distinguished us from other bakeries. And I think that was the most beneficial thing that we have kept in all the years to focus on when we couldn't see, when we're stuck in the weeds of ideas and such.
So in answering those questions, we thought the first thing was to distinguish the product and differentiate the product. And when you're looking at a cupcake, and we thought, it has to have a really good buttercream frosting. And what is that to us? Taste is subjective, but for us, it was a European flavoring, not too sweet and so on.
So important.
It's so important. And we studied all of them. And I remember the first one I did was an Italian buttercream. And I remember it specifically in the kitchen. I heated the sugar, I poured it in, it slapped around the beaters, and you learn that you have to wait and cool that down. And then you learn more as you go, and we just studied it. I pretty much did a study of buttercreams, and then it goes with what you like. We landed on the Swiss meringue version with a little bit of tilt to it that we like, and a little bit of spin. But Italian and Swiss end up tasting the exact same way. The process is just different.
This one could talk for
Oh
hours.
yeah, I could go
hours
on, and
about
we
the
are going to
details.
go on in other videos.
Oh yeah, we
because
absolutely. We've got some
I
thoughts.
like that. We got some thoughts. So buttercream was a differentiation. Then we went to recipes, and what did we say about the vanilla cupcake?
It's got to be the best.
Yeah,
That's the thing that you go to every bakery. That's the determining factor.
yeah. If you can
is
do a vanilla cupcake good, then you can get the rest.
Right, you can do anything.
And that's
So
partially
that was
true,
his
but started it. Really
very
good.
much maintained my eater status in this. I was the test. I went through it, so you didn't have to. I tasted all of the
She
different
did.
scientific things.
We
that you would come up
did.
with. No, she loved the trial and erroring of baking.
Oh, I
and
did.
like you,
You
even
have
if
the
it
energy.
failed, she learned something. She's one of the. I get mad when something doesn't work. If I follow a recipe and something doesn't turn out, oh my gosh. When you'd bring it to me, I'd taste the heck out of it, and the mayonnaise one will stick with me for the rest of my life.
It's not our style. We
Just
always
like
felt we could
mayonnaise.
taste the mayonnaise at the end. It made sense because the mayonnaise has all the good ingredients, the fat, the oil in it, and so on, the egg. But that didn't pan out. From the recipes, we went to what distinguishes us as far as branding. We had a name, ChattyCupcakes, and we decided we loved quotes. Whenever I would speak or train or whatever I did in management consulting, I loved quotes. So many of them have great meanings. Some are funny, whatever the situation. She grew up with them.
I used to write songs, so I was obsessed with poetry and writing music and finding the meaning in things. And I think that was a very important thing for us to incorporate into this business. Baking things. Everybody loves baking, everybody loves making desserts, but we needed to give it meaning, and that's where the words that we'd studied for both of all of our lives came into this.
And chats, and putting chats on each cupcake. And briefly tell them what we started with.
Oh my Lord. I hope we can find the picture to put in here. I painstakingly every night. This was a time that we were making 30,000 cupcakes every day for different events and things like that. And I would take a needle and a thread. I also didn't sew in my lifetime either, so it was all new things. I'd take a needle and a thread and a piece of paper, and I would sew
the
each
liner
cupcake.
Of a cupcake liner before we baked it. She would sew
the quote into each cupcake, and there'd be 30 dozen.
Because we couldn't figure out the process of getting chats on, because it is tricky, and maybe in a future video we can explain that. But that process was not easy, and we went from that and evolved into chats. And then the question becomes, how do we get? We're a residential bakery approved by the state of Pennsylvania in our kitchen in Waynesburg, and so the question becomes, how do we get the product to the customers easily? We delivered, and we delivered far and wide, so many cars ago, so many miles ago. We delivered anywhere that anybody asked us to, and price point was low, so there was a lot of.
We were just trying to get our cupcakes out to people. We wanted them to know we existed, so we're gonna drive them to Timbuktu to get them there. Like we wanted people to know.
We know where Timbuktu.
So there's no regrets on that front. But the evolution of how we did this, I think, is something to be excited about, because we went from just straight delivering in a car to then the Chatterbox, getting a food truck.
We bought a box truck, an old box truck, and we revamped it. We're the DIYers, and cut out a window, and we'll insert pictures of Bella selling. You'll learn a lot that way too with the food trucks. There might be some people out there that are interested in how to do that, and we have a lot to say. Good pros, cons. We went through it, and so we will talk about that. But we called our box. We still have it, by the way, but we don't do the food truck part anymore. And we called it the Chatterbox. One of our customers named it. So cool. And then the question still became easier. How can we get the product to the customer? And we came upon the idea of a cupcake vending machine. And we defined it for ourselves. It had to be refrigerated. It had to have a screen, have a gentle robotic delivery. All of these things. Well, where do you get that? You cannot believe the United States doesn't have anything. We called every vending machine there. Got it narrowed down in Italy. Mauro Mali makes
Magix.
Magix makes a vending machine.
And they worked with us. They followed all of the specifications that were required for our cupcakes.
And it's a test of faith because, we're dealing with somebody, they're dealing with somebody they don't know, we're dealing with somebody overseas that we don't know. They were wonderful, and it's been a wonderful machine. So we brought it over on a ship, and
First of its kind in the United States.
First one in the United States. And so we were tickled about that. And so there's, we have had a lot of questions about the vending machine. We get questions from every state, everywhere, everybody wanting to know about it, and glad to talk about it. It's been a great thing, and it elevated us into the public arena.
It put us on the map in a world where we were not interested in doing a regular storefront like most people do when they start a bakery. We were carving our own path, paving our own path rather, and this was the best thing for us. We weren't interested in hiring other people. We wanted to focus on keeping it small, family, and making a really, really good thing really, really well. And the machine really afforded us that opportunity.
Afforded us and gave us publicity. Ella was on local television shows, and we had publicity on newspapers, and just, it was a whirlwind. And because of that, the next phase was being invited. Ella was invited to the Food Channel Network show, the Cupcake Championship. Yeah. And we've been asked about that from customers. How do you get on a show like that? And we'd be glad to go into that in a future video too, because there's some interesting things about that time frame. But we had to keep it secret until it exploded, and she won. And she won $10,000, and every penny goes back into the business.
Oh, immediately.
And we'll talk, a baking business. We'll talk about that at some point as well. It's interesting stuff, and we've learned a lot through this process. So we also wanted to answer the question, I believe, okay, so how do we get the product to customers even further? People told us to keep the recipes a secret. That's just not our style.
And also in the beginning, we worked so hard. I mean, you worked so hard on perfecting this buttercream recipe. It's not just your standard Googled Swiss meringue. It is something special. And it's a process, and it takes time. And we were like, we got to keep this a secret. We don't want anybody else to.
Well, people were telling us too, that's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do. But that's just not been my style. When I was a management consultant, it's sharing information. That's what you do. And
we definitely have come to terms with, like, people actually need to, that's how good it is. Like, you
need to know if you want to make it. So what was next was writing a recipe book with all the recipes, our go-to recipes, and putting it out there. And we self-publicized, which that's a unique experience also. Yeah. And we learned a lot that way. And it went into a second publication, and it's now asking to be a third publication because we're out of them, and we keep getting asked about them, which we're
so grateful. The people were so excited about them as much as we were. So that was so fun, and can't wait to get them out there again.
That's a little bit of the history up to where we are now, I would say. And we have so many ideas.
Oh, and I think a lot of people would have so many questions on why we have or have not gone in different obvious paths, I think.
Like we get asked that so many times. Okay, why don't you open your stores? Why don't you franchise your
machine.
Cupcake machine? Mm-hmm. Why don't you deliver further? Why don't you do more shipping? Oh, we get that a lot, and we're working on different areas.
Why don't you focus on just weddings and giant cakes and big events? And so we dabble in all of these things. We're very good dabblers. And then we are going crazy all of the time because it's just the two of us plus my dad, who, what would we do without him? Oh yeah, to deliver or anything. He keeps us somewhat sane.
It would be fun to explore that again for some people that are wanting to start a business, wanting to start a baking business. We would love to share all the information that we we have learned, and we've just learned a lot, and some of it the hard way.
I would say most of it was done the hard way.
Yeah, we need a filter on this because there's some stress on our
The
face.
stress lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we laugh a lot, and that is one thing I know that has has been fun. You just have to laugh at times, and that on balance has made this a really fun family experience. Series of discussions because I think we just get asked so many questions we'd like to answer, and we thought this would be a good forum.
Right. I think we've got a lot to share. We have a lot to reminisce, at least, about for our sakes. If nobody wants to tune in,
Yeah.
we laugh amongst ourselves. We're fun. So we'll just entertain ourselves, and if you want to watch us, woohoo, join the party.
Yeah, we do hope you would tune in.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, please give us
Oh
questions.
yeah, we'd love, and we plan on interviewing very interesting people. That's going to be fun because we talk about them all the time. They can be our customers that we find so fascinating. They can be people
Local
I've met in
businesses.
business, yeah, in the past, and from our work. We just have so many fun things that we'd like to share. So that's really why we're out here on this one. And we do hope you tune in. And
Gosh, we're just so excited. I mean,
we hope you like it.
Yeah, we hope you like it.